Uh-oh. Oh, I guess TikTok's having a problem loading right now. Some of your destinations have errors. Dave, I see you there. You are in time for the show. Thank you for tuning in, Dave. I appreciate it. You guys, if you're following us online, please make sure you hit like, share, subscribe, because that's how we get this message out to more people, and more people are able to hear what's going on. Also, please do donate. We're working on raising about $50 to $100 each episode so that we can save for better equipment and also get some more airtime, because airtime, unfortunately, is not free. And we want to be able to speak to you guys more about all of the issues that are important to you, and not just me and everybody else. Because the way we move forward is together. And in order to do that, we need more time so more people can hear what we're talking about. Excuse me as I clean up my camera here because it looks a little foggy. All right, I hope that's a little bit better. We also have some lighting stuff going on here right now. I'm going to work on taking care of that. All right, so hopefully that's a little bit better, but it's still got this glare. I don't know what's up with it. But thank you guys for tuning in today. We're going to get into some of the incredible stuff that's going on right off the bat, like anti-Christian phobia and Christianophobia, which is rising all across the world right now. If you're a Christian, and I know not everybody is, but I encourage you to seek Jesus and seek the Lord our Father in heaven. But you may have seen that, or maybe not, that Christians are under attack all across the world right now. China, the Middle East, Africa, the Congo, Sudan. Now, with the Middle East, the interesting thing over there is Israel is supposed to be the U.S.'s ally over there. But you know one thing about Israel? They don't look fondly upon Christians. They don't really care for us too much. But for some reason, Christians love Israel as the nation state, right? Which is very concerning that we don't speak up for the very serious stuff that happens to Christians in Israel, or that Israel does, that hinders Christians or harms Christians. We can't even talk about that. And that is extremely alarming. We're supposed to blindly support people that spit on us, that think that we're as low as dogs, and that are actively bombing churches and stuff like that. We're supposed to just go along with that, but people don't talk about that. And this isn't one of those things where people are like, oh, well, that's anti-Israel or whatever the case is, which is another problem, right? Because they associate the nation state Israel with being the biblical people of Israel, which are not one and the same, which is two separate, complete conversations, which is why the Jews all across the world consider themselves to be Israel, right? Because Israel is supposed to be the people, not specifically the territory. So that's a whole separate conversation. It's like when you talk about the U.S. versus the U.S. government, right? When you talk about being American versus the American government, right? Like the Israeli government doesn't represent the issue, doesn't represent all of the issues of the Israeli people. And we saw that before October 7th, before that terrible attack that happened in Israel, where they had all of those people protesting to remove Netanyahu. And before that, they were protesting because they wanted to get the laws, keep the laws the way that they were, because they were trying to basically make it so that the people couldn't have any say, and that it would be essentially, Israel would be a complete dictatorship under the laws that they were changing for their Supreme Court. So these are conversations that we can't have because they don't want you to have them. Now, I say that, it's a little dusty in here, forgive me, guys. I say that to move forward in the conversation about what Israel has done with Syria. So there's been a whole thing, if you guys aren't familiar with Syria and Bashar al-Assad, okay, and his whole situation, where he was the president of Syria, and apparently we were mad at him because apparently he was mad at his people, and it wasn't really he was mad at his people. It was that the CIA funded what would turn into ISIS to try to overthrow his government, And this whole thing stemmed from the Arab Spring and the uprisings that were fermented by Mossad and the CIA and British intelligence over there in the Middle East. Check out what happened in Egypt. You understand what I'm saying? These are the conversations that we need to be able to have. But when you get people to just like, oh, you can't say anything about them, who? Who is them? Who is them? Right? Because there's this conflation between people who identify as being Jewish, right? Because it's you could be ethnically Ashkenazi Jew, right? Like the European Jew, okay? Maybe you're Ethiopian Jews who are the original Jews, which we don't want to have these type of conversations because then people get upset, okay? Which we don't even want to talk about how Israel sterilized over 20,000 Ethiopian Jews. We can't have those conversations. You understand what I'm saying? Because they didn't want the black Jews to breed. And I don't consider them to be black, but that's their concept over there. You understand what I'm saying? This is a problem. But we can't have that conversation because they try to lump everything together as being, oh, well, that's Jewish, but it's not. The Israeli government is not in and of itself representative of all the Jewish people or even of all of the people that live in Israel. That's not fair and that's wrong. It's the same way like they try to say, oh, well, you're a Republican, so you must be a Trump supporter, or you're a Democrat, so you must support Kamala Harris or whatever the case is. You understand what I'm saying? This is the problem. When you don't draw distinctions, there's very serious issues that come up from that. Now, back to the Syria situation, because I wanted to get that part out of the way first, because it's very important that that distinction is made so that nobody misconstrues what I say coming up, okay? Right now, what we have in Syria is a collapsed regime from the Assad, I don't know whether you want to call it presidency or whatever you want to call it, okay? Because we toppled his government, right? And Russia was helping to prop him up or whatever the case is, which that's going to come up in the conversation in a second here. Russia was helping to prop Assad up. Now, when Assad was there, now Syria used to be Christian, okay? Jordan used to be Christian, okay? Israel, Palestine, those Palestinian lands used to be Christian, okay? Restore the kingdom of Jerusalem, don't get me started, okay? That's why I don't even participate in that conversation. So that used to be Christian lands. All of that is Christian lands. So I can't really hear nothing that nobody's saying. But the problem is with Assad in Syria, he was actually protecting the Christians from the more so Islamic terrorist type of groups that we would think. This new one, HTS, which used to be part of ISIS, which used to be part of Al Qaeda, okay, which has taken over the country, which we can't talk about them or what they're doing over there because they're supposed to be, oh, less bad than Assad, but they're rounding up Christians, torturing them, beating them. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos, but a lot of the videos have started to come out, okay, that they've declared a jihad on anybody who's not Muslim, and they're rounding up Christians and executing Christians by the hundreds. Can we have that conversation? Can we talk about that? What's being done to Christians? No. Where's Israel? Do you think Israel's stepping in to protect Christians? No. Israel don't give a flying monkey's uncle about Christians. And that's a very serious conversation. And I challenge anybody to show me otherwise. Fact. Show me otherwise. That's what I want you to do. Show me that Israel cares about Christians. I want that. I really would wish and hope that they did, but I do not see it through them allowing Christians to be massacred in Syria. I don't see it by the way that Christians get treated in Israel, okay, where they spit on Christians and they beat Christians and stuff like that. This is a fact. This isn't an unknown. These are real things. So if Israel is our ally and supposed to be standing by us, why aren't they going to help those Christians? Okay, because they don't care about them. You know who is helping the Christians in Syria right now? Russia. Crazy. That's insane to me. Russia is helping the Christians in Syria right now. Russia's helping them. But Israel's not, because Israel doesn't care. Israel doesn't care about Christians, and that's something that people need to get through their head. They would sooner see us all gone and completely wiped out. They do not care about us, and that's fine. They care about themselves, okay? That's perfectly fine, and you'll hear me talk about that all the time. They care about themselves, and I support that. Care about yourself, care about your own people, okay? But Christians support and care about them so much when they can't be bothered to do anything to protect Christians. You understand what I'm saying? They don't care. So why? Like, outside of Israel being our ally, because we've invested so much in Israel, where are they to defend the Christians and to help shelter the Christians from Syria? Do you think they're taking them in? Absolutely not. They're not taking them in. Why not? These are the questions that you have to ask yourself. Now, on top of that, we're going to bring it over here and bring it back home, and then we're going to head back over there again. Okay? So you got it in the U.S. right now where everybody's, oh, anti-Semitism, anti-Semitism. What? What? Anti-Semitism? Where were you when they were pushing all of this anti-Christian hate, which is still going on today? You know those protests on the campuses that they try to say, oh, well, it's anti-Semitism and they hate Israel and all of this stuff. That started by them persecuting the Christians on campus and them going after the Christians. And then after the Christians, they went after the conservatives. Okay? After the Christians, they went after the conservatives, and nobody said a lick of spit about it. And then it ended up on Israel and the Jews. So if they would have nipped it in the bud when they were going after the Christians to begin with here on the college campuses, they wouldn't have ended up going after the conservatives. They wouldn't have ended up going after the Jews. This is serious, but we can't have these serious conversations because whenever it comes to Christians, they don't want to talk about us like we're not important. They ignore us. They ignore the issues that happen to Christians. They ignore the slaughter, the genocide. Like, you want to talk about a genocide? Like, they're like, Palestine is a genocide. No, it's not. What's going on in Syria is a genocide. They are rounding people up and they are murdering them. We're not talking about combatants. We're not talking about people that were involved in any militias. We're just talking about normal, everyday people being rounded up and executed because of their Christian beliefs. If I sound like I feel some type of way, I definitely do. Hit like, hit share, drop a comment. We'll pop it up in the screen. Okay. If you're online watching us, definitely hit the share button. And whatever you drop a comment, we'll do our best to pop it up and we'll read it out, do our best to read it out loud. And please do donate, okay? You can donate by doing Cash App, $MW Real 1 on Cash App. You can do PayPal or Venmo, and that's at Marcus C. Williams. Now, as we continue this conversation about the egregious slaughter of Christians that's happening in Syria, which Israel isn't doing anything to stop, but the Russians are. Don't get me started on that. I feel some type of way, right? Because we support Israel, but we don't support Russia. So this is why aren't they helping Christians? You understand what I'm saying? That's a problem for me. But it's not just over in Syria, okay? It's also in the Congo right now, where they're killing them up bad. And in Sudan right now, where they're killing us up bad. Christians. And because they're Christians, nobody bats an eye. It's not on the nightly news, and nobody will talk about the massacre that continues against Christians across the world, and especially in the Middle East, over there, right there in Syria, and in the Congo in Africa, and in Sudan in Africa, and in Ethiopia in Africa. But we can't talk about that, and we can't talk about what's going on in China, and we can't talk about what's going on in India with the continued persecution of Christians. What is up with that? When can we have a conversation of that? You understand? And that's a very, very serious thing that does not happen. People do not talk about it. And because we don't talk about it, people act like it doesn't exist. And then you bring it up and people are like, oh, no, that's not happening. Nothing's happening to Christians. Everything is fine. You know, this daggone not. I'm trying to guard my words because I really feel some type of way. It's a very important situation to acknowledge what's going on around the world to Christians, what's happening to Christians. We even see persecution of the Christians here in the United States. We see the mockery of Christians continue in the United States. Bernie Sanders just had what do you call it, a rally or whatever you want to call it, okay? And he's over there disparaging Christians and got somebody up there singing, mocking our Lord and Father. How dare he, bro? How dare he? You understand what I'm saying? And you know, we don't go and we don't burn heretics anymore, but I'm saying though, I'm starting to ask questions why we don't. Because if the Muslims feel like somebody insulted their Muhammad, it'll be a problem. They kill you. If the Jews feel like you're insulting them, they gonna get you. But if it happens to Christians, ain't nobody got nothing to say, and the Christians over here are silent and they ain't got nothing to say. And that's another problem. We got too many Christians over here that are soft, lily-livered Christians. Okay? You know, when you turn on my show, I'm going to give you the full unadulterated truth and the way that it actually is. We got too many soft Christians over here that are pushing all of this anti-Christian stuff, nonsense that goes directly against scripture, okay? Like the alphabetism and the transing the children, okay? And they're like, oh, well, it's good. No, it's not good. The Bible says it's not good. Then we got them supporting the government having more control over the people. The Bible says, no, that's not good. You understand what I'm saying? Then they got people talking about, oh, well, we should levy more taxes. Bible says that you shouldn't do that either. You understand what I'm saying? Like, then we finally have reached a bit of some sort of common ground with the left and the right, where what's her name? Anna Paulina, okay, and Ocasio-Cortez have teamed up on a bill to combat the high interest rates on credit cards, rightfully so. Okay, first of all, you're not supposed to charge interest. We're not going to talk about who's in charge of all of that and why there's interest charged, but you're not supposed to charge interest because it's called usury, and that is against scripture. Look it up, okay? So but we're not going to talk about the banks and who's in charge of those and why there's so much interest and stuff like that. You understand what I'm saying? But Anna Paulina and Pauluna and Ocasio-Cortez are joining forces to push a bill to cap credit card rates at 10%. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. But talking about banking, and we're going to hop around a little bit, but we will come back. And talking about banking, we got Justin Trudeau in Canada and his new replacement. What is it? Mark Carney. Okay. Mark Carney, he's an international globalist banker. Trash garbage, super trash garbage. Okay. He worked for listen, and if you guys are new here and you're not familiar with a lot of my content and stuff that I've covered before, I'm going to tell you right now, look up the BIS. Okay. The Bank of International Settlement, bro. Go down that rabbit hole. Okay. When you talk about globalists and people trying to do stuff that's bad to the world and keep people under their thumb through financial ways, that's the BIS. The BIS is the big bad boy in the room. Okay. And this dude, Mark Carney, the guy who's replacing Trudeau, was the head, was one of the, what do you call it? Directors, governors. I think it's the governors that they have there of the BIS. Crazy. When you talk about globalists, you don't get no more globalists than this guy here. We thought Trudeau was bad. Man, they'd done replaced him with the super slime. You understand? It's crazy. He was also in charge of a number of other different banks and worked at the Bank of England. Now, if you guys don't know about the Bank of England, okay, London is not part of England. London is their own specific, independently operated space that is completely run by the banking industry. It's like, think of like Vatican City in Rome, how Vatican is its own thing. That's how London is. London is its own thing. It's crazy. It's crazy. But he worked for these guys. So now we thought Trudeau was bad. Now we got this super duper globalist. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Excuse me real quick. I got to blow my nose. It's a little hot and dusty in here. But yeah, you guys, it's crazy. I'm very concerned about this new guy that they're putting to replace Trudeau. Drink water, stay hydrated. But yeah, this guy who's going in there now is talking about, oh, well, we're going to keep the tariffs on the U.S. until the U.S. shows us some respect. First of all, as an American, the United States of America has never respected Canada because Canada ain't never respect the U.S. Okay, we remember what happened in the War of 1812 when you burned D.C. down, and we ain't get back yet. Okay, so anyway, I feel very some sort of way about the War of 1812. You can also hear me reference that many other times. But regardless, the fact of the matter is he's going to keep the tariffs on until the U.S. respects Canada. What does that even mean? What does that even mean, till the U.S. respects Canada? You understand what I'm saying? Like, you guys are you guys are Canada. You're, what is it? I think most of our states have more population than Canada. California is much larger than Canada. California's economy is larger than Canada. And I'm talking about the whole country of Canada. And it's not even a country, right? It's a commonwealth. They're not even their own country. They're a part of the British crown, right? Like King Charles owns them. Like they ain't even a country. Like, what do you mean until the U.S. respects you? Are you serious? What he's saying really when he says that is that he means to do as much damage as possible to push Canada in more alignment with globalist measures so that they more so become a international trading thing where they rely on other countries and stuff like that, and not so much reliant on the economy of the United States of America as consumers. Now, while that might sound good, it doesn't sound good when you know that he is a globalist and that all he is pushing for is complete, essentially, erasure of Canada as its own sovereign nation, and then got the nerve to talk about the U.S. Come on now. Come on. Come on. Make it make sense. Please make sure that you hit the share button, hit the comment button, drop a couple hearts in the comments, okay? Drop a couple of thumbs up, and we're going to keep on going with this conversation. So I'm concerned about the direction that this is going, because this is real. It's real, and we need to be having these very, very serious conversations. I don't get it, People don't see it apparently, or they don't care, or they can't be bothered maybe. Maybe that's what it really is. But people, I encourage you to wake up and understand that the globalist world order is not defeated. They're just regrouping, okay? And I'm very concerned, like, people are like, oh, Trump is here now, everything's fantastic. I've been seeing Trump push a whole bunch of stuff as far as digital currency goes. Digital currency is not safe. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, Bitcoin is great and it's the future. You've all been hoodwinked. That is all been out there so that they can push to make it more so that people are comfortable with digital currency as they try to maneuver us towards a digital currency, the US digital dollar, which is coming soon. And people surrounding Trump are in support of these things, and I'm not for it. But again, back to Mark Kearney, the guy in Canada, he supports that type of stuff too. And this is a problem. This is a very, very, very serious problem. So it's so disgusting, guys. It makes me want to spit. But it's a very serious problem. And as we have these conversations about digital currency and how it's not good and how they're really running game on us, we have to look at things like, they said that they were going to visit Fort Knox. What's taking so long? Where's the gold? Where's the gold? You understand what I'm saying? But in the meantime, China's been digging up gold like it's nobody's business and buying more gold like it's nobody's business. Where's our gold? Right? Like, we should be focusing on returning a gold-based currency or a silver-based currency. something that actually is tangible that we can actually keep. But no, they want to push digital currency. And then they're going to say, oh, well, we've got these, what do they call them? Um, oh my goodness, there's a word for them. Um, Tethered currencies, right? Like we're going to, or pegged or tethered, they'll call them. They'll peg them, they'll say, oh, well, we're going to just peg it to the US dollar. It'll be exactly the same, but it'll be digital currency. Listen, don't let them trick you. That's what all of this is about, to give the government more control. And you know how everybody's like, oh, the blockchain is so awesome. It's so awesome. No, it's not, because they can track everything that you do all the time, everywhere. And people will say, oh, no, they can't. But yes, they can, right? Because blockchain is all about either proof of work or proof of stake, right? But all that it does is it goes and it continuously tracks every single transaction that you make all the time continuously, and it keeps a complete log and record of it. It's not like cash. You're not anonymous. You understand what I'm saying? But we can't have that conversation. And we need to be having those serious conversations, because they're working to use digital currency against us and to usher in the digital dollar, digital currencies. You know, these are very serious conversations that we need to have, but people don't want to have them, or they are unfamiliar and don't have them because they just don't know. And that's why you guys are tuned in here to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams on WRFZ, Rochester Free Radio, 106.3 FM, every Monday, 2:30 to 4 p.m. So as we go down this venture and have this conversation about the way and the direction that we're going with digital currency, with this new guy in Canada, these are important conversations to have, right? Because we don't know if Pierre Poilievre, or whatever his name is, will end up. He's the head of the Conservative Party in Canada. They have the Liberal and they have the Conservative Party. They got a couple of other parties, but no other ones are that big. But we don't know if he'll end up being the person that's in charge. You understand? They're having, I think they have to have elections. They're obligated to have elections by October, the way that their paperwork is written up for the country. Now, here's the deal with that. You've got an international globalist banker who's gone to all of the Bilderberg group, who's gone to a number of the Bilderberg group meetings. If you don't know the Bilderbergs, go look them up. That's a crazy, insane. Okay, when you talk about globalist elitists that want to do us harm, right there. Okay, so he's gone there. He's spoken at the World Economic Forum a number of times. You should listen to his speeches. They're not cute and they're not good. He also was what do you call it? Oh, I don't remember. Whatever. It was a company, and he was the head of that company, and I don't remember the company. It doesn't matter. We'll keep on the things that I do remember. Those are more than enough, and I encourage you to go look up the Bilderberg group. That's crazy. That'll take you down a super rabbit hole, because it's all about power and control with these people. Never trust bankers, bro. Never trust bankers. And that's, again, why I'm so glad that Ana Paula Luna and Ocasio-Cortez, who you guys know that I do not like her at all, but I'm glad on this note that they actually teamed up to put forth a bill to actually limit the amount of interest that they can charge you on credit cards to 10%. That's good. That's really good. Now we're starting to get somewhere. Now if they did that on for other things as well, on loans and stuff like that, that'd be even better, because usury is against scripture and it's against the history of our nation, which is a whole separate conversation. But don't nobody want to have that because of all the people that control the banks, and you can't talk about the people that control the banks. Like this guy in Canada, one of the people that controls the banks was the head of the BIS. Look up the BIS. I can't even talk about that enough. It's just bad news. Okay. But anyway, within other news, South Carolina burnt to the ground. Yeah, that happened. And it wasn't the Canadians this time. There's a little joke about the War of 1812. Sorry. But it was interesting to see South Carolina on fire. and they said something like there were 200 different, like, and it depends on what you hear and where you hear. So there were like 200 different smaller fires that all kind of kicked off around a similar time. Now, allegedly, they found some lady that was the lady that was the one that started everything, apparently. And she had, what do you call it? She had started a fire in a fire pit that was very close to the tree line. That's what they said. And that's how the fire started, or at least what they're selling you is how the fire started. Then Long Island was on fire, and of course, it's the middle of winter here in New York State. It's been rainy and snowy and all of that. And Long Island just goes up in flames, right? And they say, "Oh well, it's been very dry there. Very dry. It's the middle of winter. What do you mean very dry in New York State? It's been raining and snowing and all of this stuff. What do you mean it's very dry there? As a matter of fact, they just had a huge snow melt. What do you mean that it's very dry there? And people say, "Oh well, it's because they're saying that these people are saying it's a drought and stuff like." Ain't nobody trying to listen to none of those people. It's winter in New York State, and we live here. We know what time it is. We know what's going on with the weather. And then the New York State Department of I don't remember. Maybe it was the Department of Environment or something like that. But they released a thing last night talking about, oh, these areas are possibly in drought conditions and people should be concerned about that. Ain't nobody trying to listen to nothing that you're talking about. You just make it seem more suspect by putting that map out, talking about, oh, well, it's extra dry condition. The whole rest of the state is completely wet, oversaturated. Low chance of anything. And you talking about this is a high chance of drought. Stop playing in our face. Nobody believes you. Like, they could have just left that map alone and not even posted it up, because the question is, where was that map 3 weeks ago? You understand what I'm saying? You just posted up after there is a fire in Suffolk County. Like, come on now, man. Who are they playing with? Like, this is the problem and the serious issue. If you are following our conversation, please hit like, share, and subscribe if you're online. And make sure that you get this message out to more people so that we can have the real conversations that matter. And you can donate. If you go to donate, you can do it on Cash App. That's $MW Real One. And you can do Venmo or PayPal. It's at Marcus C. Williams. We also have givesendgo.com/Marcus C. Williams. And if you do a donation to the show, drop a comment, say that you donated, and we'll pop it up on the screen if you want us to. We don't have to, but we'll pop it up and we'll encourage other people to match your donation. We appreciate you guys very, very much. I really appreciate you, because we're working on getting more airtime so that we can have more time for our show and do it more than once a week, as well as save up to get some more equipment and stuff like that, because I know some of you guys can see sometimes this stuff will freeze or whatever the case is and stuff like that. But that's neither here nor there. We're working to make it happen, and we are where we are. But you guys support us, and we love you all so much. Thank you so much for all your support. And whether it's $5, $10, $25, or $50 or $100, please do donate. Every dollar counts. Now, as we talk about all of these very interesting, what would you call them? Weather conditions? No. Fires, right? Fire conditions all across our nation. It really starts to make you wonder, is there something else driving what's going on? And we should probably have that conversation. Kind of like all of the planes all of a sudden are falling out of the sky. Now, the question is it happening more often, or is it just being covered more now? And with the planes falling out of the sky, I think it's just being covered more often now. But we have had a couple of very interesting things that have happened as far as that going. But it's kind of like, maybe there is some there, but mostly it's not there. There's not a lot there. I think it's honestly distractions from that helicopter that crashed into that plane. Okay. But we still don't have the proper information on that. We still don't have the information on all of the drones, okay, that were flying all up and down the country. And the U.S. ain't gonna let nobody fly no crazy drones like that all around. Now I'm hearing that it was part of a program that they were working on, blah, 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 da, 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 some other covert type of situation nonsense. But I can neither confirm nor deny, nor do I have enough information on that for that to pan out at this time. Drink water, stay hydrated. And other stuff going on across the world, there is going to be a peace negotiation treaty started in Saudi Arabia this coming week. So Zelensky is apparently with MBS right now, who is the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, and he's basically in charge of everything. So right now, so the day-to-day of the whole family lands, because that's what it is. It's the House of Saudi, right? Like, so it's the whole country is owned by one family. It's a whole crazy situation they got going on over there. Well, it's neither here nor there. But Zelensky is meeting with the crown prince today, and he won't be there for the following up with the peace conferences. But he'll have several ministers there, and some of his generals will be there as well. I believe that this has to do with the fact that the other day when he was in the Oval Office, he was popping all types of smack to the U.S., talking about, oh, this and that, and I'm not going to sign the minerals agreement because we need assurances and stuff like that. And now, apparently, he had just had a meeting before that with a whole bunch of Democrat senators and representatives that told him not to sign the mineral deal. But when he was in there, his aide and his other minister that he had with him were there looking mouth agape, like mouth wide open, like shocked, like he wasn't going to sign the mineral deal, and he was giving Trump and JD Vance all that grief, man. Like, they did not like that at all, because that's not the best interest of Ukraine, what he did. He did not serve the best interest of Ukraine, because the Ukrainian people want the war to stop. And there are many people over here, or whatever the case, that are of Ukrainian descent or whatever, and especially in the Rochester area, and some of them think that the war should go on. Okay, go over there. And that's the same thing with any of these other people that believe that the war should go on. Go over there. There was an interview done with some people in Britain last night that are all so pro-Ukraine. And they were talking about, Europe should send troops over there and this, that, and the third, da, 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 da. And the interviewer was like, okay, that's cool. We should do that. Would you go? And they're like, no, I'd be a conscientious non-observer, because I'm not going to go. I don't want to go to war. Then the other guy's like, well, I don't know if I'm in shape enough to go to war, but I might consider it. Come on now. Put your money where your mouth is. Go on over there. Ukraine is trying to get us to send all of the Ukrainians that are here on refugee status back. Zelensky's been trying to get that done for a while. He wants us to send them all back over there so that they can fight and die. Is that what you want? I mean, do you want your son, your father, your uncle, your people to die over there needlessly? For what? That's why they came over here on refugee status. For what? You got so many Ukrainians here. Why aren't they living in Ukraine? Because there's a better opportunity of safety and to achieve more here. But it hurts my heart when I see what's going on over there. And people are like, yeah, let's turn this into a forever war. Like, if you guys really knew how all of the international companies had carved out their different holdings in Ukraine, then you would really start to see what's going on. But many people don't want to have that conversation. And it's important for us to have that conversation. They're basically running everything over and over and over again to basically install whatever they can as far as their power goes, so that they can actually basically siphon off the resources from Ukraine. It's never been about them caring about Ukraine or them caring about the Ukrainian people. It's always been about them trying to stay in power as far as having financial supremacy on the world scale. This is globalism at its highest level, played on the international level, played on the international level. And what we're seeing here now more than ever is they're willing to continue this war as much as they want so that they can build up the military industrial complex, so that they can build up the bankers and the bank reserves, so that they can build up all of these different things that are harmful to essentially the common everyday man here in the US or in Ukraine. Ukrainians aren't being serviced by them. And they're just snatching people off the street over there, forcing them into conscripted servitude in the military. It's a serious, serious issue. But can we have that serious conversation? Hit like, hit share, get this video out there, and make sure that you drop a comment, and I'll do my best to pop a comment up when you comment below. And I know that some of them aren't all popping up right now, but it looks like some of them are. Okay? So as we have this conversation, it's not just Ukraine right now, right? We just spoke briefly about Syria and what's going on there earlier today. And now how they're rounding up Christians and torturing Christians and executing Christians by the hundreds in the streets. But can we have that conversation? Nobody really wants to have that conversation. These things are important to have talks about, but nobody's talking. Why aren't we able to have these conversations that are very serious? You know? And now all of a sudden, we've got the Romanian, what's his name? I don't remember his name, but look this up. The guy that was supposed to be like the conservative, you know, or the right-leaning candidate in Romania, he's been pushed off the ballot by the globalist leaders because he wanted to refocus Romania on being more about Romania. So this is very important, but we can't have these serious conversations. Go look that up. That's something to look up right there. Look up what happened with that and how they kicked him off the ballot. Look at all the people that they tried to assassinate in Europe that are so-called considered left or anti-globalist, which is what it really is, anti-globalist people. But we can't have those conversations. We need to be able to have those serious conversations because what's happening right now is we've got these people that are from one specific sect in society that are at the top of the pyramid almost, that are basically, I was going to say squishing, but it's not even squishing anymore. It's crushing the everyday citizens more and more and more. And talking about ruling from on high and crushing the everyday citizens, let's talk about New York State. We've got the governor, Kathy Hochul, and apparently, if you guys aren't familiar with what's going on in New York State with the correctional officers and stuff like that, where they're starting to actually stand up and say, we're against what's going on in the correctional facilities. We need more money. We need to have more time off because they're working like 18 hours a day, 16, 18 hours a day, multiple days on end. I'm not doing it. I don't want to be in a prison to begin with to even go visit. Okay. I don't even want to be over there to go visit. I definitely don't want to be in the prison to make sure that the prisoners stay in the prison. Like, that sounds crazy to me. More power to them for working that type of a job. That's a very, very serious type of a job. And I'm so happy and I'm so thankful that somebody is willing to do it because I know that it's not the job for me. God bless them all. But what's happened is now Kathy Hochul is coming out talking about, oh, well, we'll just fire everybody or we'll cut their health care and that'll force them back to work instead of addressing the actual issues of the pay, but also the fact that they don't feel safe in there because of the HALT Act, because you can't really take any disciplinary actions against any of the prisoners, no matter what they do, which is a whole nother problem. It's crazy. It's crazy. So now apparently there's some sort of collaboration where they've worked out some issues where some of them will start to return to work, but it's apparently not addressing any of the actual issues that the people have. And this is a concerning thing to me. It's very, very concerning because all of this is being pushed by Kathy Hochul. You know, she's up for re-election coming up next year. So she wants to look as good as possible to everybody possible. So she's trying to do everything she can. So this was a little bit of an inconvenience for her. So she wasn't very happy about that at all. But we need to address these types of issues. We need to have these types of conversations. But they're not being had. And it goes back to these people that are rulers on high, squishing the everyday people. I saw Kathy Hochul talk about the other day. Oh, I'm the first governor who's a mom. So I know about people and their concerns and being a mother and how it you, because I don't believe you. I don't believe you, not even a little bit. You know why I don't believe Kathy Hochul, that she has a concept of what the everyday people are going through? Because she keeps in place bill reform and raise the age laws, which are creating utter chaos and criminal terrorism in our streets every single day, and she does nothing about it. She's cut Medicaid, and she got the nerve to talk about Trump's going to cut Medicaid. Trump's not about to cut Medicaid, okay? But you already did, Kathy. You cut Medicaid twice. You signed the bill. Can we have that conversation? These are the serious conversations that we need to have that we're not able to have, that nobody wants to really talk about. And I bet you that might be the first time that many of you found out that Kathy Hochul actually cut Medicaid. That's a real thing, okay? And that's a conversation that needs to be had. But nobody wants to have that conversation, even though it's very important. Even though it's very important. On top of that, more so over, we've also got issues where we have it where she's continued to raise the taxes. Now she's talking about, well, hold on, I'm trying to fix this camera and plug this charger at the same time. So now she's talking about, I'm going to give you some money back and this and that and da 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 da. I said, money back? Just don't take our money to begin with. What's wrong with you? Don't take our money to begin with. That's what we want. We want to keep our money in our pockets. We earned it. We worked hard for it. Don't talk about, we collected so much extra sales tax because of COVID. Yeah, because you're scamming people. Just lower the sales tax. And if you guys follow me a long time, I'm always talking about abolish sales tax and abolish income tax. So abolish sales tax. You want to do something for us. You want to save us some money. You want to act like you're really doing something. Abolish state income tax. Abolish sales tax or lower sales tax. Dave says something. What's Dave says? Dave, Dave, you silly. Dave says Kathy Hochul is a lizard person. Dave, that's a little crazy. That's a little crazy. I don't know if she's all of that, but I also don't know that she's not that. That's very, very serious. And we need to talk about the fact that she is disconnected, whether you say that she's a lizard person or not. I can neither confirm nor deny that, but I will say she is completely disconnected from the everyday person. Thank you, Dave, for sharing that. Please continue to share this post and this video and definitely get it out to more people and tell everybody to tune into our show on the radio every Monday on WRFZ 106.3. We are the place to be, to have the conversations that need to be had. You can hear us on Rochester Free Radio, and we'll continue to have these type of conversations because it's important. It's very important. When we have a governor who's saying that, she cares so much, but she's done everything in her power to continue to disadvantage us. This is a serious issue. This is a serious, serious issue. Why can't we talk about that? We can't talk about that at all? What about the policies? If you live in New York State, do you think that most places in New York State, some counties are a little better than others, but do you think that the tax burden is too high? I think the taxes are way too high. We know that we are the second highest tax state in the union, Then we've got the crime that's out of control again because of the policies. This is about policies. This isn't about whether I like her or not. Okay, that's a whole separate conversation. The fact is when you're an elected official and you're in a position and you hold that seat, you need to be accountable to your constituents in relation to your actual duties. Now, that's a whole separate conversation. We might have to do a separate episode on specifically what the governor does and stuff like that, because I know a lot of people blame the governor for the stuff that the state assembly and the state senate does, and it's not all her, but it's also in tandem with what she's been doing. Babe, I see you throwing up them little lizard emojis. But if you guys make a comment, drop a comment, be part of the conversation, and we'll engage with you here and definitely share this out. So as we have these conversations in relation, to policy, it's not just national policy. Like they try to distract you with everything on the federal level. It's right here at home what matters. You know, I saw them get upset at USAID, which is a federal organization that gives out all of this money to all of these non-governmental agencies or organizations, NGOs and stuff like that all across the world to fund all types of stuff, most of the stuff that we wouldn't want them to fund. Is it being used as a subversive entity by the CIA to conduct operations for the CIA internally inside the US and externally? Probably. And when I say probably, I mean 100% for sure. You know, the CIA has not been very happy about that cash cow getting kind of knocked off and pushed aside. But I'll say this. Now they're saying that Rubio, who's the head of the State Department right now, just said that they're going to cut 83% of the programs from USAID, and they're only going to keep about 1,000 of the programs, which means that's a crazy amount. That means that we had like over 50,000 programs that we were funding and stuff like that were just straight trash, you know, and I'm sure maybe one or two good ones got caught up in there, but most of them are straight trash. That money could have been spent on American citizens in America, inside our country. This is the real issue and the real conversation. But we can't have that conversation because they do not want us to have that conversation. And you have to start asking yourself, why don't they want us to have these conversations? Why? Where is all that money going from USAID to fund things like transgender surgeries in Malaysia? You know, like Malaysia, bro. Or maybe it was Indonesia. I don't know. Same difference, you know? No offense to the people there, but you know what I mean. It's right next to each other. Malaysia, Indonesia, somewhere over there, funding transgender surgeries over there. When we got people that are homeless over here that are veterans. When we got parents struggling with their kids for food and stuff like that. And it ain't even in this country, right? Like it'd be one thing if it was in this country, but we're talking about a whole nother country. That's crazy to me. Then on top of that, you got all of these other fundings for all of these other, like we've gone through a list of many of them before, but it's really, really crazy. You know, if you guys follow me, I'm not a fan of Elon Musk. So I know many people are very enamored by Elon. Okay. I do like Tesla and I like SpaceX and I like the Boring Company and I like, what used to be Solar City. I like what they're trying to do there. However, I've said it many times before. I do not trust that man, and I encourage you not to trust him neither. Okay? But these people that are running around, Elon this, Elon that, Elon, you don't even know why to be mad at that man. You don't know why. Why should you be mad at him? Because you shouldn't, honestly. Being mad at Elon is a waste of time. You have to identify what he's actually about, what his plans are, and see how we can actually make sure that they don't fully come to fruition, because what his plans are is to make it so that the elite, again, this top 1%, the Democrats are the same way. This isn't a Republican thing. And I don't know what Elon Musk is registered as, but he's definitely not a Republican or a conservative. Okay. So that's a whole fact. Now, the important thing here is when we're having this conversation and we're talking about things like Elon and what he's doing with Doge, that we separate the man from the actions of Doge. Now, so I saw on the internet the other day, somebody's like, oh, well, if he's doing this, he can understand all the different levels of the government and what the government is doing. Listen, that's on the lower level of my concerns. If you guys understood that these people these elite globalists on the top of the pyramid really think that you are the carbon that they want to eliminate, okay, then you'd know better, okay? He said multiple times that he wants to basically control the future guide of humanity. And he's got his chosen people and stuff like that he wants to go along with him. But that's no different than the rest of all of the elitists and globalists that we have on the Democrat and the Republican side. I say it all the time. They're both the same at the end of the day at the top of the pyramid. Congress, all of them people go to the same parties. They got the same, they married into each other's families. They got the same bankers. They holiday in the same places. Come on now. We're not having real serious conversation. And we need to be having these conversations. And I know some of you might feel some type of way about that because you love Elon. I'm telling you, look out. Look out. But this isn't the issue right now that they've got with him. The Democrats are mad because he's cutting off their piggy bank. And he's not even doing a real good job at that. He's doing an excellent job, but he's not doing a real good job at it yet because they just scratched the surface. So this is another set of the conversation that we're not even really having. He's not even really digging down deep into anything because he's scared that they're going to assassinate him. Because people get desperate and they get concerned, as he said out his mouth, and they will come after you. Well, but also he's forgetting the other part. When you cut off somebody's money, and you don't mess with people's money, they want their money, honey. They're going to come after you. Please make sure that you hit like, share, subscribe. And if you are listening to us on the radio, tell your friends, your family, and your enemies. Tune in every Monday on WRFZ 106.3 to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. Now, if you are following us online or on the phone, or on the radio, please remember that you can donate to the show so that we can save up to get better equipment and to actually get some more airtime, because we'd like to have more time during the week, more than just one show a week, so that we can talk about these very important topics. It's very serious conversations that we have here. And not everybody's going to like everything that we share all the time. Okay. But I'm going to be straightforward, honest, and as direct with you as possible. Very, very serious and very, very straight. I know some of the people that heard the start off of this video might have felt some type of way. That's your feelings. Get out your feelings. I didn't say nothing that was untrue. I didn't say anything that was hurtful. I didn't say anything that was mean, and I wasn't condescending at all. But these are the type of conversations that we need to have, the hard conversations that not everybody wants to share. Back to Doge, okay? They found that the SBA handed out, I believe it was 5,200 and some change of loans during COVID to, get this, people under the age of 11. Under the age of 11? Are you serious? 52,000 loans under the age of 11? You can't even get a loan under the age of 18. How you give them 52,000? You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. To account for hundreds of millions of dollars. That's insane. And this is what's going on in our country right now. So when people are like, Doge is bad, that's bad. That sounds crazy to me. Then apparently there were a couple hundred where the people that were getting the loans were listed to be over 115 years old. Over 115 years old. Who's over 115 years old here that's getting a loan from the SBA? Then there was one person that was over 157 years old, and they got a loan from the SBA. Now, all of those people, over 100 that I just mentioned, were all active on the Social Security Administration, which means that they was giving out them checks from the Social Security Administration. So when people say that, oh, there's nothing wrong with Social Security, daggone lies. And we've gone into talked about the Social Security Trust, I believe, last week and some other things. But if not, I've talked about it before, and I'm sure I'll talk about it again. Let's see. Dave has a comment. Let's see. If you guys want to comment, share, post your comment. And if you're online and you don't know, if you're on the radio and you don't always get to catch our show on the radio, check us out on the Marcus C. Williams channel on YouTube. That's the Marcus C. Williams channel on YouTube. Check. Let's see what Dave's got to say. Dave says, Trump isn't a conservative. You're right, Dave. Trump's not a conservative. I really wish that he was, but he's not. And I don't agree with everything that he does or everything that he says, but I am a fan of some of the policies. But all of the policies that I'm a fan of, I've been a fan of them and advocating for them since before Trump came on the scene. So he says, neither is Elon. Right. Elon's not a conservative either. He says, but they both are fighting the fights we need to win. So I give them a pass at this time. Bonus, they tick all of the boxes, all the right people. They tick all the boxes that tick off all the right people. That's true. They are upsetting the apple cart, as one would say. So it's some of the stuff that's going on right now in that level of government where they're upsetting some people is well needed, because anybody that's mad right now, understand those are the people that are skimming your money, your tax money, okay, that are hurting our country, okay? That's who those people are. Anybody that's mad, that's out there complaining and stuff like that, that's those people. And it's real serious, and we need to have that conversation. But again, people don't want to have that conversation, even though we need to. I want to see if I can pull up that clip, that song that was playing, that Bernie Sanders had somebody play at his show, because I can't deal, like I'm telling you guys, the way that they do us as Christians is real jacked up. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. It's really, really crazy. I'll find it as we're going. Hopefully I'll find it. Here it is. Let's see. This is only a clip of it. This isn't the whole song. I don't even know if we can play this on the radio. Let me see. Hold on. Because he says so much crazy stuff. Let me see. Yeah. So this is a type of raw, unadulterated filth that is being spread, okay, at Bernie Sanders rallies. And then they had the nerve to have a interpreter there that was doing the what do you call it? The ASL? Is it ASL? No. Yeah, ASL, American Sign Language. Yeah. It's crazy. I don't know how you could be that sign language interpreter for that nonsense. But this is a type of anti-Christian stuff that continues to pop up. Why is that? Because we've normalized it. We've made it okay. And it's not. And Trump started an office of faith, a faith office headed by some lady who calls herself a pastor or whatever the case is. She seems a little, but I hope that it's just, we got the right person at the right time for the right part of the job. I hope it's that situation. I don't know her. I can't make a claim. I have seen people say that she ain't the best of people, but I'm just kind of hoping that she's the right person for the right time. Sometimes the Lord uses people that aren't the best people to do the most important of tasks. And if you follow the Bible and Scripture, you'll see that happens. Even if you just are just follow the Torah, you see that many times also. Especially in the Torah, you find that to be very true. But anyway, I'm happy. I'm very happy to see them making all of these cuts, and the fact that we might have a balanced budget coming up, which is crazy because somehow Rand Paul, if you guys don't know Rand Paul, he's a hero amongst heroes, okay? He's one of my favorite people in Congress. And Thomas Massie, okay, also another really solid guy, okay, are really positive on some of the stuff that's coming up and been happening. Now, if you're familiar with either of those two guys, they're very conservative. They're very shrink the government type of people. And they're very, I I don't know how I could even describe them. I don't want to say open-minded. That doesn't do them justice. Um, they're on point all the time, almost all the time. I can't think of a time when I've disagreed with Rand Paul or Thomas Massey. Maybe Thomas Massey, but it's amazing. Like even there, like we're going in a direction that looks to be positive, and to have both of their buy-in, that's a lot, you guys. That's a whole lot. I am starting to like Tom Burchett more and more and more. Like I didn't even really know who he was before the last year, but he's seems really solid too. Not like those two, but like something different. Like he seems, excuse me for saying this, but he seems almost honest. And that's saying a lot from any elected official. I'm just like, wow. And not just honest, right? But earnest too. Wow. I mean, there's not a lot of politicians that are like that. So he seemed to be doing pretty all right. I, I don't always agree with his vote stuff, but for the most part, he's on point too. He's good. But I look at it like this. With what's going on in the federal government right now, I'm very thankful for all of the streamlining of where the government money is going. And I'm glad that a lot of these things are being cut. I'm glad that people are like, oh, well, they're going to cut the Board of Education. So, Board of Education just administers loans and stuff like that. They don't even make the loans, right? That can go through any number of 50 different departments that are better suited to do that. I've even heard conversations lately, as the president said, that he might even just put that under the Small Business Administration because they're used to administering loans, you know? And it's just like a regular day in the park. Plus, what is it? I think 33,000 or something like that employees the Federal Board of Education has like that. Some ridiculous number. And it's like you don't need all them people just to be allegedly administering these loans and stuff like that. They don't really do anything else aside from that. Discrimination and stuff like that is handled through the Department of Justice, so they don't do any of that. So what exactly are they doing? So when they're talking about cutting that with a chainsaw, I'm all with it. Cut it down to little ribbons because it's not doing anything. But people will say, "Oh, well, don't you have any concern about all of the public servants that are public servants? Who what part of the public are they serving? They serving themselves with my tax money, you know? Like that's my concern." So, but they're like, "Oh, well, what about all the public servants?" And I'm like, "Well, can't they be employed in the private sector? Like, isn't that the whole concept that we shouldn't have a huge government? I want a government so small that it fits in the palm of my hand and I can crush it if I want to. Okay, if need be. That's how big I want our government. You know, the government was never meant to be this big and unwielding, and that's why we never really see the issues that we want addressed by our government or any of the government agencies. I got a lot to say about the SBA. I'm kind of glad Linda McMahon is in there now. I'm like, I got beef with the SBA as a small business owner, and that's for a whole nother episode. Maybe I'll do that on my business podcast, but that's a whole nother separate issue. Okay, if they really, 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 really care, really care, they'll work hard and they'll clean out the SBA under Linda McMahon. And Linda McMahon is a successful what do you call it, wrestling mogul, you know? Like she did really good to help her and her husband. I know Vince has been in his things and stuff like that, but she's been a very core integral part of growing the administrative side of the WWE, formerly WWF, you know, and all of their acquisitions and stuff. It's become a international company and grown to be billions of dollars in revenue. And honestly, I don't follow the WWE. Was it E now? The WWE anymore, but I watch every now and then. I have friends that still follow them, and they're happy and they're satisfied. You know, it's entertainment, right? It's what do you call it? Essentially, that is soap operas for men. You know, and it's not even just men anymore. Now a lot of ladies watch it too. You know, but it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting, and I hope she does well. I really, really do. Now, as far as other things going on in the news, we've got a lot of stuff that's going on with them starting to hit back on this energy stuff. And I'm honestly amazed. They've got a number of oil plants that, not oil plants, what do you call it? Oil refineries that they're refurbishing, and they're working on some more drilling sites and stuff like that. So that'll be awesome. Now, I just saw Tennessee has 3 new nuclear power plants. Not even nuclear power plants. That's not me doing them justice enough. Small modular nuclear reactors. Now, if you're not familiar with these new types of nuclear power plants, um, if you're online, if you're not online, if you're on the radio, I can't really give you a size description of it. But think of a mouse, right? Think of it like a not like a mouse creature, but think of it like a mouse, like a computer mouse. And about that size is about the amount of fuel that most small modular nuclear reactors use. And they can power just forever, right? And I'm being over exaggerating. It's not forever, but it is essentially forever, a very long time without having any of the commonly conceived issues as far as meltdowns or anything like that. And like I said, they're doing 3 projects right now in Tennessee. I know they did one in Kentucky, and they did one somewhere else. I can't remember where the other one is, right around that area. But that's going to be awesome for energy generation. Do you think they're doing that here in New York State? No. I was just talking to DPS the other day. They got some, what is it called? Oh my goodness. I don't remember what it's called, but if you go look it up, you'll probably find it. So right now in New York State, they're doing a high energy line thing. And I'm very concerned about the high energy lines because of the amount of electromagnetic radiation that they give off, and the fact that there are no real studies long-term of the impact on the environment or the creatures in the area. And now they're trying to streamline those processes, but they're only doing it in relation to wind farms and solar farms. This is a problem. In New York State, 43% of our total energy comes from natural gas, okay? And I'm not talking about heating your house. I'm talking about energy generation. It comes from natural gas. But the state government, specifically the state assembly and Kathy Hochul and Stuart Cousins and what's the other guy's name? Carl Hesty, okay? They've done everything they can to close down, okay, natural gas plants, natural gas pipeline projects, and even energy, not what I'm talking, not energy. It is energy, but specifically nuclear reactors like Indian Point. Now, they may or may not have closed down Indian Point because they were scared that it was close to New York, but I don't think that has anything to do with it because they tried to get rid of Gunay, which is up here. They tried not to let them expand a couple of years ago and redo what they were doing because we've got a nuclear power plant not, I don't know, 25 minutes from where I am, and that's why it boggles my mind about all of these people over here. Oh, solar. You realize we get energy from a nuclear power plant right here, right? Like we already got 0 carbon emissions, emission-free green energy right here. Like how come we're not having that conversation? And Gunay is one of the older type of nuclear power plants where you see the giant smokestacks and stuff like that. But SMRs are completely different. I encourage you to go look into them. That's the future of energy. Now, this is a crazy kicker. As far as everything that they've tried to condition many people to say, oh, well, nuclear is bad, and look at what happens with nuclear meltdowns. Let me tell you a fun fact. Microsoft. Microsoft just bought 3 Mile Island. Now, if you guys know anything about 3 Mile Island, it's the only nuclear disaster we've had in the U.S. and one of the biggest nuclear disasters. So Microsoft is buying 3 Mile Island to reopen the power plant, to reopen the reactor. Wait a second, they're reopening a reactor that melted down? But I thought it was so terrible. It was so terrible that apparently they can still open it and use it. What? So it goes to show you that we've been being misled a lot by what's going on with nuclear, and they're trying to push us away from it because they know that it provides us with an abundant, continued source of energy. Abdul, I see you commenting. Give me 2 seconds, I'll pop you up. So they know that it'll give us all the energy that we need and at lower prices. But this is what they don't want because they want to control the people more. Now, those 3 projects I was talking about in Kentucky are being built in relation with Google so that Google can have more power for themselves. It's not even for the people. But it goes to show you that the energy company, not the energy company, but the big companies that are in relation to AI or the internet, all of them are going to nuclear energy. When they still got people running around talking about solar panels, when you can't even get a lick of spit of energy compared with solar panels, compared to even a small nuclear modular reactor. Again, if you're watching online, this is my example of the amount of fuel that they use. This size is the fuel that they use in a small modular nuclear reactor. And they don't even melt down. Okay, and most of the small modular nuclear reactors, a lot of them are coming online are going to be salt, and that's a whole separate conversation. Even the other ones that aren't, they've even got them that, you know, those in your head. I'm sure you've got this in your head. The old plutonium rods and stuff that came out of the old power plants and stuff like that. Some of the SMRs now can even use the spent fuel rods that we've got buried in the ground. We can go dig them out and use them until they're completely inert, posing no problem to the environment or humanity. But you know, when things work and actually might empower the people, that's too much. Abdul, let's see what Abdul's talking about. Oh, Marcus, now I can wear my hat at work. So for you guys that are listening to us on the radio and listening to us online, Abdul is he provides a security service for one of our local area, what would you say? He provides security services for the Rochester City School District, right? So the Rochester City School District, one of the people at his school, I guess he had his black Trump hat on, which isn't a Trump hat though, right? Right. But it's not a Trump hat. It's a Make America Great Again hat. But they said it's a Trump hat, right? So Make America Great is not just a Trump thing. Remember, Ronald Reagan used to say that too, right? So I consider myself more of an America First person, but to each their own. I'm not gonna hate on anybody that's Make America Great because we essentially very similar, okay? And some use the terms interchangeably. I don't, I don't. But so he was wearing his Make America Great hat at work, and they said that somebody got offended and that he had to take it off. But apparently, there's no stipulations in any of his actual workers handbook or in the school policies that says that he can't. So that's jacked up. That's a violation. And they said apparently because it made somebody feel uncomfortable. It made somebody feel uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable, but why? Because they don't want to make America great? Like, are they serious? Like, why does that make you feel uncomfortable? And you know, it was most likely, excuse the truth, but it was most likely a white liberal that complained. Oh, I feel uncomfortable. Now, I don't know that for sure, and I'm not a betting man, but if they had to ask me for a bet, I'd take that bet. You take that bet, I'd take that bet. You know what I'm saying? So but this is a serious issue. And it shows again, like I've talked about before, how teamified everything is in our country right now. You're either left or right or gay or straight or black or white or this or that or whatever, or Christian or Jews or whatever, right? They try to make it so that we're so divided over everything that we can't unite around the things that we need to unite around. And that's a serious issue. A serious, serious issue. It's so disgusting, it makes me want to spit. Here's the deal. At the end of the day, we need to move away from this teamified concept, okay? Because again, at the top of the pyramid, it's all the same. The elite globalists all want bad things for us. They don't want anything good for us. They want to do everything that they can to limit our freedom of mobility. They want to do everything that they can to limit our freedom of financial mobility. Okay, first I was talking about regular mobility, like actual walking, moving with your car, airplane, stuff like that. They want to limit your financial mobility because they don't want you to be able to go up in your what do you call that? It's financially mobile, you know? Upwardly mobile. What would you call that? Going up to your next higher finance bracket. But you get what I'm saying, you guys. Like they don't want you to be able to be upwardly mobile. They don't want you to be able to be freely mobile. They don't want you to be able to think freely. They want to just patch you all together and squeeze you all together and press you all together into one single group and no perish the thought that you have your own independent thoughts and values and systems and stuff like that. It's crazy. If you guys are following us online, please hit like, share, subscribe, share this on your page, share it to a group. And if you're listening to us on the radio, make sure you tell everybody, tune in Mondays, 2:30 to 4 p.m. to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams, 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. We are here in your ear talking about the things that you need to hear. And you guys, please do donate, whether it's $10, $25, $50, whatever you can do. We're working to raise $50 to $100 episode so that we can get more airtime. We're trying to get at least one more show block during the week. Please do donate. And we're also trying to save up for some better equipment so that we can broadcast better. You can donate on Cash App. That's $MW Real, the number one. That's $MW, the MW Real, the number one. So the digit one. We also have GiveSendGo.com/Marcus C. Williams. And we have Venmo and PayPal, and that's at Marcus C. Williams. Please donate whatever you can. $10, $25, $50, $100 or more, whatever you can donate. Every little bit helps. And we're fighting to make sure we have the serious conversations that need to be out there. Now, as we go along this journey together, and we talk about how they're trying to divide us and stuff like that. You know, they stopped a plane just yesterday, or is it today? What time? Still today. Daylight savings time, guys. Still today, just today, this morning, from going into was it Mar-a-Lago or was it Bedminster? Mar-a-Lago area with a plane. I guess NORAD had to scramble the jets out there. And apparently that was the second time in 2 days that they had to do 48 hours, they said. So for 2 days, the second time in 48 hours that they had to do that. And there was a guy at the White House that was apparently a crazy guy that was armed, that wanted to try to go kill the president. So that just happened just yesterday. But apparently the president wasn't there when the crazy guy went there. But we see all of these people online saying, oh, somebody should wink, wink, nod, nod the president. You know what I'm talking about. That they should do this to the president. They should do that to the president. They should nix the president. You know what I'm saying? Like all this crazy stuff. Like these people need to be picked up. Like, are you serious? Like the president? Are you even like, see, here's my problem, right? Like it's gone so far. It's not even about the people don't like this man. It's that they have no concept of the far-reaching consequences if something like that was to happen. Do you know what happened the last time we had a president assassinated? We ended up with the most racist man since Andrew Jackson. Okay, we got Lyndon B. Johnson, an openly devout racist that did everything that he could to destroy the urban centers and the Black communities. Okay, like, are you serious? That's the type of person that you want in office? And even if it's not, we're out here fighting these globalists right now that are trying to not only erase humanity, but trying to stop a mud hole on every single citizen that is working class or in poverty. Can we have that conversation? And y'all talking about, oh, you want to get rid of the president. And then who gets in there? J.D. Vance? Don't do that to me. I'm not a big fan of J.D. Vance. However, that meeting with with what's his name? Vladimir, what's his last name? Zelensky. Zelensky's name is Vladimir too, you guys, just to let you know. So it's Vladimir versus Vladimir. They're both Vladimir. So Zelensky, that made me kind of be like, okay, well, maybe I should give him a little bit of a chance. But I don't trust him either. Okay. I don't trust him at all. Him, Vivek, either. Okay. Him, Vivek, Elon, they're all the same type of person. Okay. They're all technocrat elites. Okay. And I'm not with it. Now, as we talk about that on the Republican side, they're on the Democrat side too. Why you think these people got all of these wealth and all of these riches, and they on senator salary, and they got all these millions and millions of dollars? Come on now. Why you think they out here complaining about all of these programs that are not for American citizens getting cut off? Because they scandalous too. They all part of the same group at the end of the day. But this goes again back to what I'm saying. Like they're out here talking about, oh, well, you get rid of the president. Who's going to be in there? J.D. Vance? And I'm not saying that J.D. Vance is bad, but I'm saying I don't want J.D. Vance in there. No offense. Okay? I want Trump in there compared to J.D. Vance. Are you serious? No, stop playing with me. And then, Lord forbid, something happened to both of them. Who do we get after that? I don't even know who's Speaker of the House. Mike Johnson, bro? Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. I don't need Mike Johnson. Oof. Ooh, that's crazy. I don't know if that's what you guys really want. If you really want to take out the president and then get J.D. Vance as the president, or Mike Johnson, and I know some people are more like, oh, Mike Johnson isn't that bad. I don't think he's that bad. I just don't think that he's been that strong. I don't. I guess he's like, oh, well, now I've got Trump to fight my battles for me, so I don't have to be the person to take the flogging or whatever. So, I mean, you know, maybe he can be more conservative now, I guess. I don't even know. Again, like we said earlier, and me and Dave pointed out earlier, Trump's not even conservative. So, but this is a serious types of conversations that we need to have. I will catch you guys next week. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. You guys be blessed, be well. And remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. I'll catch you later.